How'd that feel? All of that. Was that like a good night? Was that a bad night? Was that an average night?
I'd say it was a good night, but we were distracted.
I have problems with having people we know play on the enemy team, like a pretty big problem with it. And I mentioned it before, but I think everyone was out of the room and I think I was muted at the same time. But I really dislike it. Part of it is because they know how we play, so I feel like it's a really unfair advantage. Part of it is that it does make the game a little less serious. You know, even though we're not goofing off, it does sort of become like, oh, let's kill Grim because we know that guy, or like, oh, let's outplay these guys because we know them. I really, and I think on their part, yeah.
Oh, sorry. For clarity's sake, he was one of the former coaches?
Yes.
Yes.
Was one of the coaches, and
Okay.
Galax is a person we played with.
Yeah,
Okay.
Galax is like a friend. He spectates like all our matches, and I just think it's like a little inappropriate on their side to like to do that as well, because like
Yeah.
I don't like it's I don't know, it's a little BM-y to like roll people that you know.
I'm
Like-
actually very uncomfortable with it, and I don't
Yeah.
like if they're still in our friend channel. If they never talk to us at all, and but they spectate us occasionally.
The
Okay,
premise of
so yeah, if you guys like really like, I didn't know that you guys were that uncomfortable with it. Like, Galagarian is my in real life like one of my best friends, so he's definitely not doing it to like troll you guys. But I like totally get it if you guys like don't like them playing. It's what I like. My perspective is like they might know. Well, like Grum obviously knows how we play, and like they might know how we play, but then it's like I always took it as like they are playing against our weaknesses, so then like that's helping us to fix that or like counter that. But if you guys like definitely if you guys are taking it like the other way where you're uncomfortable, like I can definitely tell them to, you know, like back off.
Like it's just like specifically like that Hanamura map where like I knew there's no way that they weren't like, oh, they're gonna do this strategy, so we gotta counter it like right away. Like, and I think in a quick play environment, I think that's kind of a shitty thing to do. Like in a scrim, if you've scrimmed the team and you know their strats, it's one thing. But like in a quick play environment, like I don't think that's really fair. And it doesn't really give us a chance to like practice that strat if they're just gonna immediately counter it because they already know what it's like.
But isn't it like where we should practice it, like in the play?
Yeah, well, that's what I mean. Like we should be able to practice it, and we can't if someone's like, oh, they're gonna do this, and then like, it's one thing if we try it and it doesn't work because the enemy team has a better comp. It's another thing if they already know it's going to happen.
I think beyond just that, it kind of gets into my head a little bit because I always wonder like when Grum went Bastion, is he like troll picking?
Yeah.
Just because he knows if he plays McCree, he'll steamroll us or whatever. I kind of see that too. Now I want to clarify that the reason why they're in the Friends channel was because they were upset when we removed them from the Team channel, and that was kind of like a peace offering because they had said when they left that they wanted to come back occasionally.
No,
to
for
help.
sure. For sure. I'm not mad at them being in the channel or anything. But it's more like they don't speak to us in the channel. Graham never spoke to us after stopping to be our coach. And so just watching us silently is really creepy.
Like I said, yeah, it's a shame that we haven't heard.
It's for me, it's just the dynamics of like, if they want to scrim us, that's one thing. I'm fine with that. Like, but if the expectation is that we're in quick play and we're fighting against randoms and then they disrupt that, I'm not a fan of that. Like, it's just the optics of the situation. Like, there is a difference between structured scrim, like let's fight these guys that we know play, and then quick play, and I don't like those two things converging. It just makes me uncomfortable.
I mean, could you not have left the queue and gone into another match without...
Well, they would follow us.
Well, if it's a like, I'll tell them not to. Like, it's a huge problem. Like,
It's kind of done at this point. Like, that's all we have to do. Like, we like Sai can message them right after this, and then it just won't happen anymore, and that's that. So, no worries. I think we all kind of get it. We're all on either the same or at least very similar pages. So, I don't even think we need to sweat it at this point. We can just call it a done deal. if that's cool with everyone. 'Cause I think that, like Sai was saying, I think that's a pretty easy fix. And thank you, Naga, for bringing that up. I think you might be right that you were maybe possibly muted when you were expressing that before, because that's the first time I've heard that. But I've thought similar things. So, thank you.
Okay, so beyond that, more about the practice itself. So I'm interested in what was the volume of communication like tonight? Is that about how a normal match sounds for you guys, or were you talking less? Are you guys tired? Were you talking more?
Usually Kaden's here and she does shot calling, and my mic. That's really ideal.
Brittany's cutting out, but her mic.
But-
her headset's working.
Yeah.
And I find for the most part, actually, we were still having a reasonable, like, the level of discussion was still the same. Even if it wasn't quite the same discussion. The only time I found it got quiet was that Route 66 match. No one was really calling anything out, and that was the only aberration. But other than that, I feel like it was a pretty normal volume of discussion.
Okay. Just so that you have an idea, it's very little discussion from what I'm used to. There's very, very few calls in general. Lots of things that can be improved on that particular level, just as an FYI. So that's something that we can actually talk about next week, because I think just sort of understanding what a good call is, what a bad call is, things like that might help to begin with. But I don't know if you guys have ever listened to mic chatter of like professional teams or whatever, but it's actually jarring because they're screaming at each other at all points in time.
Yep.
And you don't actually want to do that, but like it's almost funny how in the middle of a team fight you'll have someone saying, monkey, 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 and they'll just like keep on yelling at that until it's dead, and then they'll scream out the next thing like trace, 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 tracer, and then continue,